Whoa now. Whoa now. Hey. What's happening, y'all? I'm wearing the Western shirt tonight, not the Count. The Count surprised everybody last night at the Fright Bite when he got dressed up and kind of took a break from the Western thing, as you can see here. Good evening, Fright Biters. What? These? Oh, well, these are butt bongos. Butt bongos, you ask? Well, let me tell you. I like the Fright Bite. I like butt bongos. I like the Fright Bite. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I have those actual butt bongos right here. He left them behind. If anybody wants Hoffer Teacher, play it on their butt. I could be persuaded to do that for you. But let me get in and welcome you guys to the Wednesday night free-for-all. Got Dale Groot in the house. He's been here for 85 damn minutes. Wow. I should have offered you some refreshments and snacks. 85 minutes till the hangout. Wow, we appreciate you being here. Dale, of course, he's also a fan of the Fright Bite. And I always count on his comments to come in late night when he's able to see it. You can always watch the live replays for any of my shows, the Wednesday night hangouts that we do, or the Fright Bites. You just go to the live button on this Unleashed channel and you can enjoy those old episodes, binge watch. Got Josh Krager in the house. Everyone ready for tonight's hangout? How are you doing, buddy? I'm doing so good, so damn good. I actually upgraded my phone after several years. I would say probably 6 years. I had an iPhone 12, just a regular base model one, for this whole time. And the way they design these things, it's like a planned obsolescence going on, where with enough updates, eventually your phone's just not going to be able to handle anything and have no storage. And it's really not your photos or anything. It's the apps themselves. And Apple's guilty of doing all kinds of goofy stuff like that in the past, slowing down people's batteries. The latest conspiracy is that they're doing updates to the old phones to make their photos look crappier all of a sudden, which I kind of felt like that. My phone, I was so happy with the photos I had for years. People would always go, "Hey man, what kind of phone are you using?" I'm like, "It's just a regular 12." And they were super impressed. And I felt in the last months, I don't know, it was me talking about it or whatever, all of a sudden the photos, every one I took was dull. Granted, that only had a small amount of pixels, I guess, back then, the iPhone 12, to where now it's obviously, stepped up. And I also have a iPad that I use for the live shows. I bought the iPad so I could do the whole in-ear monitor thing and have a nice screen that I could see everybody's, vocals and guitars, bass and drums and everything, and have like a total mix that's good for my in-ears. That was almost paid off. And so I made some moves with Verizon. Did you ever do that, where you just go, "Hey man, I wonder what promotions they have. I bet you if I talk some deals with them, I could probably get a brand new phone for the same price I'm paying on this for my bill every month with the iPad that's on there." And that's pretty much how it went down. The guy at the store was kind of a middle-aged guy. You know how those guys that work at these chain stores, they always kind of have a little bit of an attitude. They're like smart enough to be a manager, but they also they're a little arrogant. But at the same time, if the guy ends up saving me some money at the end of the day, I'm cool with it. And there was a couple instances where a Verizon personnel was kind of weird with me on the phone, or this guy in person. But in the end, I felt like I got a good deal following their suggestions, if you will. And no matter what, if you notice with Verizon, it requires you to do an extra line. Any kind of deal you want depends on this extra line that you have. They had me doing that for the iPad. The only lame thing about that was there was no deals. It was like $25 for this extra line. And I never used the iPad for texting and phone calls. So it was stupid that I was doing that for even as long as I have, almost 2 years now. So I decided to like cut the cord on that and just pay off what I owed, which is like $200 on the iPad, then cancel that. So I don't have that $25 anymore. And for this new phone, if I open up this other line for $5 a month for 3 years at least, keep it for that long, $5 to have this other line, they can assign it to my old phone, and this will get me $850 off on the iPhone Pro Max. And you can see I have Charlie Cat's photo on there. The phone is definitely better, way better. I mean, I'm actually really happy with it. I mean, the Pro Max, I just love the screen, how much bigger the screen is than the 12. I really struggled to like see on there. So that's pretty cool. I know it has better technology not to overheat. When I was going to the last show, I think for the project or a rehearsal perhaps, I was using my Waze navigation to figure out what freeways to take or what have you. And it was so hot that day that my phone ended up like overheating and shutting down. And I could, I needed it to like, it screwed me up where I was like driving to. I finally was able to like get it back on, but this one's supposed to be better for that. Has a pretty incredible zoom on it. That's pretty badass. Being here on the beach, there's obviously stuff to check out on the beach, and the piers over there. I noticed I was able to like zoom in on the pier and see like a guy fishing. I could zoom in pretty much on anybody and see their face. Like it's got like a 40 time zoom on there. So I was pretty impressed with that. Storage wise, that's a big thing. Like you have to have enough storage to handle all these updates and apps that are going to come on board on your phone. And I think my last phone, the base model 12, only had like 48 gigabytes or something of space. So obviously it was going to like run out within 5 years just from Apple updates. And finally this week it couldn't do the last update. Other than that, most of like the new stuff that the operating system did, it was able to be on my 12 up until now. So there wasn't too much new stuff on here. I'm still learning all this, but obviously if you're a customer of these bigger phone companies, they always offer some kind of deal to let you get the newest phone. It sucks for the environment that they keep us doing this. You know what I mean? Like, but I guess there's no way to get out of every 5 or 10 years the technology just progressively gets more insane, and they put it into this box that we're enslaved to, right? The little black mirror that we use for every aspect of our life. What phone do you guys have? And what are you paying on your phone bills and stuff like that? With this, I pretty much got it down to like the $100 a month I was paying. And when I called up to cancel the iPad line, the older guy that was on there was like, "Sir, I can't hear you. And if I can't hear you, we can't have a conversation. If we can't have a conversation," he was like one of those guys that like, luckily I had taken my blood pressure medication. So I was just like letting him dominate the conversation, asking me the questions and which line I was going to be cutting down. And then after it was all said and done, he goes, "Well, I got something I found for you." And I was like, "Really?" And I was expecting him to do some kind of sales deal. He's like, $10 off a month for the next year, just a little promo bonus. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So that hopefully got it down a little more, but it's kind of how I suspected, for not really paying much more out of pocket. If anything, I got the newer phone. And since I do so much filming for the shows, the Fright Bite, the tour videos, right? I want to have be able to zoom in and get the good stuff. Who do we got here tonight too? We got T-Cuz, bro, in the house. Peace and love. doing some slant board sit-ups, waiting on the show. Slant board sit-ups, man. Getting in shape for the next werewolf battle. Tika's the shizzle, yeah. People be fighting and shooting at Popeyes around here. Man, yeah, there's been people are going crazy all around. I swear to God, they just, I don't have the article in front of me, but this crazy ape-looking dude broke into a morgue and had relations with several of the bodies in there, and I was like, man, that just sounds like a made-up movie or something, you know. And then there was also shootings that go on here all the time. I'd say the worst ones are more up in Los Angeles. They get the craziest stuff that happens constantly. San Diego, we got our share, but there's nowhere near how bad it is up in LA. We got Jay Lee. Happy Wednesday, Eric, and everyone watching the live hang. Yes, welcome. We do this it used to be every Friday, and then I moved it because I got shows, and it's, you know, summertime. People are going to be out doing stuff, and it just seemed like Wednesday, this is early enough that we could get you guys to move over to here. And so far, so good. Thank you, everybody that shows up to these hangs. But how it works, yeah, if you have anything you want to ask me about my 25 years with stephenpearcy, anything like that, bands I played in, you're welcome to ask away. Pretty open about everything with my life. But that's kind of how it works. You guys throw stuff at me, and I'll talk to you and tell you how I feel about it. We got Warrior X in the house. Hey, Unleashters. Oh, man. Good stuff. Johnny Ponder. Hello, everyone. Johnny Ponder was watching some slap fight. This stuff is insane. Yeah. Chris Aiken was always a big fan of the slap fighting, and he did get me to watch some of those, and it's pretty impressive. I mean, it's definitely one of those ones where you want to go first, right? On anything. That's my motto too. Strike first. You know what I mean? Don't wait to see how good you take a punch. Be the guy who throws the first punch and make it count. Oh my goodness. We got Tim Lloyd 69, everybody. Puff, puff, pass. Yeah. Tim Lloyd made quite the impression on a recent Road Diary because his hillbilly humor, you know, it just, not everybody gets it. I get it. I think it's hilarious, you know. He'll start talking and you're like, wow, is he serious? But then eventually his story will lead to the fact that he's not serious. He's just trying to get you to laugh.
You're frightening me, hillbilly.
But I think he frightened some people off. But I'm going to continue to showcase Tim whenever I'm in Texas or shows that he can make it to Oklahoma or whatever. I think I'm still going to show him because, you know, those friends of mine, they make me laugh, and I want them to make you laugh too. But thank you, Tim. Thanks for being here, buddy. Okay, moving on. We got some Jersey in the house. Hi, all from New Jersey, JK Base. Yeah, you know, I was born in New Jersey, Englewood Cliffs Hospital. So lived, my grandfather had a restaurant in Jersey City on Newark Avenue for generations. My great grandfather started, and and then moved to near Somerville, kind of farm town in the 70s, and by the 80s moved to California. Eventually moved down to San Diego, where I met Steven as a young teenager, and then eventually got to play for the guy. John Evans, what's up, people? GTSY. I'm not sure what that acronym is. What a beautiful day it is. Yeah, it's been super nice. Obviously, I'm in San Diego. I feel bad. You guys have crap weather in a lot of your spots you're at a good amount of the year, and it's pretty much the same here, you know, 62 to 72. Nathan Anderson knows what I'm talking about. Good evening. Good evening to you, sir. And we got Stony Jackson's in the house. Let's go, ladies and gents. Yes, Stony, thanks for sharing the adverts for the show, for the Fright Bite, and for these Unleashed hangs. And the road videos. I appreciate it. I'm still a fairly new channel, in spite of the fact I actually started this channel probably 10 years ago. I initially started it so I could make some homemade videos for some of the Stephen Pearcy songs that we had back then, some of like the independent releases and demos. And even he would ask me, hey, can you make some kind of video? Because, the budget wasn't there, but we wanted something to put on YouTube. So I did just that. I made a few of the earlier videos and some of the montages, and they're on this channel. There's some of the, I think I even made a playlist for it, some of the earlier ones. But I really didn't know much about YouTube 10 years ago, and I don't even, obviously it was big, but not as big as it's become even since then. It seems like everybody's a YouTuber now since COVID, where it didn't seem like there was that many people on there trying to earn a living 10 years ago. But I really didn't understand how, like, what you even needed to get monetized or anything like that. I knew I was starting to get hit with copyright stuff off Steven's music, because even though I get paid on that in a capacity of the back end as a writer, when I'm on my channel using it, it still gets diverted to his publishing, people or whatever he has, with that. Anyways, I don't want to lose you guys with the technicalities of the music business. Let me see. Jojo, Eric, you must crack yourself up watching that back. Yeah. It's funny. The Count, yeah, I enjoy it, doing comedy, and it's exciting to do live stuff like this. You know what I mean? Where, this is totally live, doing these Wednesday shows, but on Tuesday, it's pretty much live. We'll do pre-recorded bits that we integrate into the show and like interact with. For example, last night, Dr. Von Brainscan called into the Fright Bite, and I could reenact that for you so you can see how that would work. But I would say something along the lines of, whoa, Dahlia, I think I'm getting a phone call.
Out. Dahlia, how are we this evening?
Doing good.
Terrific. Well, I wanted to personally congratulate you both for the recovery of Dr. Lobo's drive.
Oh, yeah.
You've taken us one step closer in smashing Crozar's terrorist organization.
Oh, you're welcome.
And a real boost in the werewolf program. Yeah. In fact, we've been hard at work creating a companion for you, an ally, if you will, in the fight against Crozar. We have almost finished training a brand new operative, a werewolf. That's right. His name's Skunk, Agent Skunk. Yep. Well, Agent Skunk should be ready to serve in about a week, and we have some good intel on where Dr. Lobo's been operating since last week. So we will definitely be in touch, and you'll be meeting your new partner soon, and we hope you get along. It's all for the greater good of our country. All right. Take care now.
Dr. Von Brainscan, everyone. So, a new agent on the team, Agent Skunk. And that's interesting. I don't know what you guys thought about that, but yeah, the next Fright Bite on Tuesday, there's going to be a mission, and it's going to be a mission with Dahlia and the Count, and apparently with Agent Skunk. So you definitely need to tune into that. It's Tuesday, 6 p.m. We do the show live. And then, of course, there's work that goes into it. We have pre-recorded stuff we got to do. I believe there's going to be a werewolf battle on this episode. So Dahlia and I will have our plates full, as well as Agent Skunk. So don't miss it. Tell your friends. Jay Krager's doing good. Well, that's good. Coming off the heels of his birthday. Jojo's rocking the iPhone 13, so not far behind you. Yeah. You probably got like what, another year before it just stops being able to do anything, and like just taking photos all of a sudden will taking a few photos will make it run out of storage. Like I got to the point where even though I took all the photos and video off the phone, and mind you, I do pay for all this alternate storage. I have Dropbox. I pay for extra cloud space. I'm terabytes up there. That was one of the funny things. Initially, I was like, I'm always worried about space. And recently, filming the show and doing some editing on my old phone, I was running out of space and stressing out when I had deadlines and stuff. So I was like, I got to make sure this phone has enough space. And so I asked for the 1 terabyte iPhone 17 Max, and she's like, we're going to have to order that. The biggest one we have is the 512, gigabytes. And I was like, I'm like, do you think a terabyte's like overkill? And she's just laughed at me, and she was just like, yeah, your phone there only has like 50 gigabytes it holds. This one's over 500. So obviously this thing should be able to get me through the next 5 years, I would imagine, easily. And I could still get the bigger video projects I do off. I have plenty of space. But it's funny. It was prophesized that there would be we all own nothing, and we're supposedly going to be happy for it, but basically everything in our lives will be on a subscription base. You'll never quite own something. And as down the road as that may have seemed when I first started hearing about it a decade ago, now you just start to see how things that you're on a payment plan for, shortly after you paid it off, you don't get too long before you got to get another one. And that gap's probably going to come down to maybe the same day that it hits the 5-year mark. Boom, all of a sudden you got to upgrade. And hey, why not just stay on this plan every month? And then our lives get one step closer to being a Black Mirror episode. If you ever watched that depressing show, let me tell you, it's very sad to watch. And then it's even worse when you see us there all of a sudden, these episodes we watched 5 years ago, and now we're here today. Kevin Smith, son, I keep forgetting the double shot Tuesday and Wednesday. That's right. It is a double shot. I hope it's not too much. I hope you guys aren't overdosing on me in the short period of time. But I mean, the cool thing is when I thought back to when I had a regular human life, those days suck the worst, like Tuesday and Wednesday, with the exception of Taco Tuesday, of course. I don't know if you have that in your town, but Taco Tuesday is kind of fun and festive and everything. But aside from Taco Tuesday, you're like, man, the weekend's pretty far away. And Wednesday, the weekend's still pretty far away. And in the summertime, there's not too much going on programming wise. And I feel like Hollywood is definitely in trouble because people are moving to independent entertainment. They have their YouTube channels and podcasters they follow that are, video based now, obviously. And that's where it's headed, and movies, I don't know if you'll agree with this, they've just gotten worse and worse. They're all reboots. It's all the same group of like those elite actors or whatever that get all the comedies, that get all the action films. They rarely, break a new character. They milk any franchise for as far as it'll go. I don't know if this was true. The fact I saw today flashed before me, but it said that 85% of the Star Wars fan base has left since like Disney took it over. And, I don't know how shocked I'm supposed to be by that. Like how many generations are people going to continue to think something's cool or not? If you think back how it's been like close to 50 years since that movie came out. If it was, me as a kid in the 1970s, it would be like watching an old timey silent film or something, I mean, that's how old that would be to them. So even though they have the best marketing with kids and stuff like that, it doesn't mean these kids are going to be into the same thing. You know, if anything, they market it more to our age, the middle-aged guys. I see a lot of guys, you know, collectors, some of them, but reliving their childhood, like buying the GI Joes, buying the Star Wars guys. And these guys are goofy as hell, you know, but I get it. Like I get the nostalgia. I get, it takes me back, you know, looking at, you know, pictures of the figures and toys and stuff like that we had as kids. You know, it triggers that brain cell that when everything was just fantasy, right, as a child, and you haven't really got into the reality of life and how progressively crappy it could be for a lot of people. We got Jay Krager saying he plans to upgrade his phone once he starts his new job to the Samsung Galaxy, the 2026 Ultra. And Johnny Ponder is also on the Samsung team doing Galaxy. It works great. Yeah, I have to say, photo-wise, the Galaxy has always impressed me the most with people's photos, especially at least when they're showing it to me on their phone, on their Galaxy. I don't know if I'm exactly what I'm looking at on Facebook or whatever I see there. One thing is interesting, I heard as far as like YouTube goes, Marcia told me this, but when it comes to super chats and donations and things like that, YouTube keeps more of it if it's from an iPhone than if it's from a Samsung, which I thought was weird, right? I don't even get why that would be. But I guess I've always stayed with iPhone just because I have the computer I use for music. It's all integrated, all the devices that I use as being an artist and stuff, music and video. Tika's, he's still on a 7 Plus. Certain apps don't work, but the music library works, and I paid $100 for a new battery. Always protected the screen. Thing's gonna have to die before he spends the coin on a new. Yeah. You know, my phone before that, what did I have? Like a 7. I think I had like an iPhone 7, and that was the first one where they had slowed the battery down, and there was like a whole lawsuit, class action lawsuit about it. And I'm a sucker for class action lawsuits. Like, I'll always send in those little postcards because, like, let's face it, you're never gonna like think to go take one of these big companies to court over something anyway, right? You're not gonna do that, but they're doing it for you. But it's I've seen it to where it's a joke, to where you get like 10 cents, to where I got some significant money. Probably the most money I got on some class action was when I was doing rideshare. And I've told you guys about that through some of the hard times. I was driving for Uber, and then I got kicked off of that. I was doing Lyft for a while there, did a lot of rides. But after that ended, I guess there was all these like class action suits, and a few of those paid a good amount. A few of them were like for a few grand and things. So as soon as I started seeing some of those bigger ones, I never, you know, not sent it back in or went, oh, I'll sue them separately. I don't have time for that, you know. You guys might have got this one. The most recent one was a Facebook settlement, and they've gotten into a lot of trouble in the court systems, specifically with young people, with underage kids, just having it be bad for them, really mentally, and being the cause of, you know, just bad stuff. And yeah, they've been sued for a lot of money in courts, but I guess there was some privacy thing or something with Facebook, and they were paying out on that. And you get an email, yep, the settlement's coming, and it's a big multi-million-dollar settlement, you know, hundreds of millions, and yours is going to be coming soon. And then finally the day comes, yep, your settlement's being deposited today through a Venmo. It's $6.47. But, you know, whatever. And then I got a second email going, hey, the judge approved a second payment on the case. Yeah. And that one was for like $5. And yeah, you know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. Oh, look who showed up. We got Spicoli. He's throwing in. He's got 5 on for the weed fund.
Hey, bud. Let's party. I know that, dude.
What are you people? On dope? Let's have us a champagne jam.
Yeah, we got to have a champagne jam tonight. I mean, how else are we going to get through the week? Come on. All right, let me get back with these comments here. Yo, brother Eric, what's good from San Antonio, folks? Horns up, yeah. Well, I'd fit right in San Antonio with this outfit. Oh, I've been doing a lot of purchasing stuff off eBay lately. I'm always looking for deals. Frugal musician. A lot of the show clothes for the count on Frightbite I've gotten off of there. A lot of Western type shirts, and since I lost some poundage, I've had to get some new clothes. You know, I went down like a couple pant sizes, and all of a sudden, nothing fit. I was my mom, who I need to see her. I haven't seen her in a bit, but the last time I saw her, she was walking behind me, and she had commented that my pants were sagging, and I was like, yeah, you know, I was carrying something or whatever. I had to pull. They were belted, and I had them pulled up or whatever. And she's like, you know, that's because you're too big a size on your pants. You know, your mom says. And I was like thinking about it. I'm like, you know, it's probably is what it. I need to go down on a pant size, and I hate it because I have a pretty extensive like Levi's collection that are all like a 32 waist, and man, that there's a lot of them. There's probably like 50 pairs of them. And for me to go down and be like starting over, and I don't know if I want to deal with like selling all those old ones. So I've started to buy, like, look for the cheapest deals. I'll go to like the Levi's outlet. I'll use my Capital One card. Sometimes they give cash back at Levi's, and I'll make sure I use their card. And sometimes their warehouse will be doing closeouts, and you can score stuff. I mean, there's been some crazy times where the Levi's factory has just blown stuff out, like $5 for like stuff like pants. And I should have probably bought more, but I realized when you go to sell it on eBay, sometimes it floods the market and they have a ton of it there, and it'll still sit there for a while. But you can get, I'm sure you guys know this stuff already, but when I shop for something, I have these like steps that I take before I commit to what store I'm doing. If I'm going to go to a big box store, I'm going to go to eBay, or I'm going to go to the company's actual website on there. And it's just a big comparison I do. I take the time to do that. But I'll always check on eBay to see if somebody has it for, you know, to maybe $10 less, maybe more off. And I get pretty lucky like that. But I noticed with clothes lately, I've got some bummer sellers on eBay. I think I've canceled like 5 orders on stuff in the last month just because I was offended, like, at how long they were taking to do anything. Like, you do a buy it now, right? You paid for it, and then like a whole week's gone by and the person hasn't even like bought a label. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever sold stuff on eBay, but the way it works now, they couldn't make it any easier to sell stuff on there. I mean, basically they and on top of that, they give a huge discount on the labels when you go to ship, comparatively to when, like, I don't know, some of my people win stuff and I have to walk in the post office and mail something. I feel like I'm always paying top dollar. But when it's like through eBay, they give you a discounted label and all you have to do is print it out. And you don't even have to like bring it to the post office immediately. I mean, just the fact that you committed to shipping it, that you at least paid for a label right away, and they could get a rough idea where it's coming from, how long it's going to take, whatever. But this guy, I mean, a whole week goes by, you haven't even bought the label yet. There was one guy who just barely got something out to me. I was about to cancel it, and he finally got it out. But I mean, it altogether, because the guy was in California, I still got it within a week or so. But these ones I canceled, I'm like, there's no way. That's such a red flag when you're buying something that the guy takes a week and hasn't even reached out or whatever. So I noticed this mostly happening with clothing stuff. I don't know if you guys ever buy stuff off eBay, but that's what's been happening to me lately. But with that said, I also got some decent deals too. Levi's, for example, like One of the guys I ended up spending, goddamn, what would have been a retail price in a store. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought that, and I canceled it, and then saw another guy had the same pants for $10 cheaper. So saving $10 on it, pretty good. One thing I learned about Levi's, especially lately, I don't know if you guys wear Levi's, but with the label on the back, like, you know, sometimes it's a black label and then it's the old school one, and then they have that other one that's like different. It's like a little tan or something like that. It's got kind of newer writing, if you will. Like, I found out some differences with that. The best one is the black label. Apparently that's the one that'll be the highest quality of pants, and then you have like the regular ones, but that other label apparently is like the way cheaper version. And even if you like were to like Google this or whatever and ask about it, it'll tell you that those cheaper ones, after like about 4 hours, will start to bunch up and it'll lose its tightness or whatever. They'll change their shape, get baggy, just weird stuff. Is that my super carrot? Woo, tuna fish fun for Kylie and Charlie. Nice shirt. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, dear. This is one of the, I guess, better deals that I got out there. And yeah, a couple of these shirts I had planned to wear playing with the project, because they were kind of almost a more, I don't want to say rockabilly, but you know, at least the Death of Me song seemed kind of almost had a punk rock slight edge to it, or whatever. And I thought when I was playing with those guys, we recently played in Upland at the Lemon Fest there, and I wore like a black one of these kind of shirts, and everybody liked it. You know, they thought it looked cool. So, and as you know, the Count wears this stuff. But yeah, you gotta, you know, as you get older, you gotta get classier, right? A little bit. I mean, the truth is, most of the time I look like a total bum here at the beach. Like, I don't really go anywhere, so I'm usually just wearing cutoff t-shirts, shorts. You know, I like I said, I have nobody to impress, no job to be at. I remember we're having a job, a human job, and that was a stress. Like, just knowing that you had to have clean clothes for the entire week to get to to be in the office and stuff like that. Women have it totally the worst. You know, they definitely have to get up early to get all their stuff going on and makeup and all that. But also, you know, you're being judged by your coworkers. You know, oh, he's wearing that shirt again this week. You know, you're a bum if you're wearing the same shirt in the same week, right? I mean, the guys that were doing the best in the office, if you know what I mean, are the ones that seem to like be a little more dressed up. And I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. Dotson 200 SX. Hey, everybody. Hope you people are doing well. Awesome. It's good to see a lot of these fright biters here and vice versa. These Wednesday hangouts are easier for me because I, you know, aside from taking a shower, I just kind of turn on the camera and I have no idea what I'm going to talk about for the most part. But it gets more people in at these. So that's why I like to take a minute to promote the other shows. And I appreciate when you guys do that for me too. T-Cuz, $25 a month, prepaid AT&T. Got data limits, but I don't use much anyway. I just need music for the gym. 256 gigabytes, 7+, plenty of music. Well, that's good. Yeah, our gym here has Wi-Fi too. And that was another dumb thing with having the iPad, that they made me get that line or whatever at the time. Made it sound like I was getting some great deal. I wasn't. But I'll never use that iPad when I'm not on Wi-Fi. Never. I mean, that's something I would pull out on the plane, or yeah, when I'm like, even when we play concerts and I'm using it for the in-ear monitors, there's a specific Wi-Fi that I need to log into to use that. And we have our own splitter that Matt brings and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm never just using the Verizon service on there. But hey, whatever works for you guys. Believe me, I wouldn't have switched if it wasn't to the point where I was having the stress of, oh, I have 1 gigabyte to work with, and it's just all apps. And they were all apps I use, you know, and no, I could no longer update the phone. Dahlia's big on, like, you know, not going with the future phones. You know, she's kept to having an old phone herself. she doesn't have the same stuff she needs to do that I do, and she's able to get away with it more. But as a guy who, produces videos and music and stuff like that, I kind of need to have a more current phone and all that. Okay, Johnny Ponder wants to know, do you think Steven would ever do an actual tour again if the price was right? Steven, Tom Kiefer, Slaughter, would it sell good? I think. Yeah. No, he's always into doing that. I mean, most recently he was talking about the Voices of Metal, which was funny because he asked me about it. He's like, hey, when did we do that Voices of Metal? Like it was not that long ago. And that was 26 years ago. That was like right before I joined the band, but that was when he was out with like Vince Neil and a couple other people. I think Vixen was on the bill. And it's been 26 years since then. I'm in my 25th year playing with the band. The only like tours I remember doing that were legit tours was we did one with Wasp in 2005, Wasp and LA Guns. I think we did one where we headlined and had like Metal Church and Pretty Boy Floyd. Most of the time, though, I'd say 90% of the shows that we've done have just been flyouts where we're headlining whatever city, and that's just how it went. I love tours and being on tours. We're definitely talking about it. He's for sure open. Obviously, he was asking about that. He was mentioning wanting to do something of that nature. I think all around with the economy, it's a struggle everywhere. You probably heard that blue dot fever. That's a expression I just recently became familiar with, but basically on the ticket websites where you'd buy seats for events, you're just seeing blue dots, which are people are not buying those seats and they're available. And I don't feel so bad. I mean, honestly, all around, whether it's with the music business or even YouTube for that matter, like, my numbers kind of fluctuate. I only have a little over 2,000 subscribers here. I thank you, if I haven't thanked you enough, for everyone that actually hits the like button on these videos and are actually subbed up to the channel. I appreciate it. But, I don't expect to have viral videos. I mean, again, this is the first year I'm doing this. I'm just kind of getting started. I've seen the numbers on this show dip down a few hundred a week, but you're doing a weekly show. There's a lot of options out there, but I'm looking at other podcaster shows too, and it's kind of the same thing. And I've heard this, like summertime, people watch less of this stuff. Perhaps that's what it is, but it just kind of dips around this time. But even the big, huge podcasters I'm seeing aren't doing insane numbers right now. We'll see where it goes. I have fun doing all this. I have fun doing the Fright Bite, the whole comedy thing. The road videos are a lot of fun. I was going to pull up the picture from the latest one. Let me see if I can grab it. You guys have probably watched this, right? It was the latest road vlog. It's got Joel Hoekstra in it on guitar. He's pretty phenomenal. There's some live stuff. It's not the best sounding footage that I have in there audio wise, but a couple of scenes you hear him playing some solos and it's pretty phenomenal. One, you can't like see him for a minute. You just hear this crazy lead, and then all of a sudden he comes walking into the frame and he's just like, doo-ba-doo. He's actually like running across the stage while he's playing it. And this is where you see his 16 years playing in TSO, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. You see where all that showmanship has gotten him. Not to mention, if you're a guitar nerd, you totally see Joel in these videos and stuff on YouTube and instructional videos, guest appearing on, Guitar World magazine channels that have over 1 million views. It's impressive. I mean, just the other day I happened to be browsing through and a video came on and he was playing a solo and Joe Satriani was playing rhythm guitar, kind of like standing behind him in the distance. And it kind of blew my mind a little bit. But yeah, these are the first few shows that Joel's done with us, but he's definitely brought like a fire an energy that we needed, I mean, I was always trying to like put on a show over these last years, and I would move around and stuff. But I mean, Matt's more like tries to do the John Paul Jones thing, which is good. You know what I mean? But even we've gotten him to kind of move out, and especially right now that I'm on his side of the stage, we rock out together. We kind of do like a Judas Priest kind of setup, and we'll give each other the signal, and we'll walk over to like a certain part of the stage and go rock with people for a second and then come back. Now we're trying to work in the whole Joel thing, because he's all about doing the crazy, not really, super planned choreography, but the guitars, crisscrossing. I always thought that was super cool when I'd watch shows as a kid, like a chance for like the crowd to like see both guitar players, if they're obviously watching from stage left or right, that they do switch throughout the night, and everybody gets a chance to be closer to each guy in the band, is kind of a cool thing. And we have the wireless deals, and now with the in-ears, it's easier than it's ever been for that. Like, that's one rad thing about these in-ears. This never changes. Whatever the mix is that I dialed in with my iPad or whatever, that stays the same no matter where I am on the stage. And you can't really beat that. In fact, like, now that I'm used to it, it's weird to go without them. This next road video that I'm doing happened to be the next night after this last video that I was just showing you the thumbnail from. And this show was like such a nightmare as far as sound check and the technical problems that they had at this event were like nerve-wracking. I'm going to try to produce it in a way that's kind of funny or whatever, but at the time it wasn't really funny for us. It was like a bad dream, or definitely when you start wondering if we're living in like a simulation, you know what I mean? Like, I can't explain it. It just seems so crazy that it would be taking that long, and they wouldn't have like certain things, like we don't have enough cables. I don't know. It was just, it was weird, man. Anyways, Jay Krager's got Cricket Wireless. Now, you're in Colorado. How's your coverage there? I mean, does it work well for you? I mean, when I first heard of Cricket, like, I know when we had people in the band that used it, it never worked. Like, as soon as they left Los Angeles, there was no coverage in any of the spots if we were to go to Colorado back then when I first heard of Cricket. But if it works for you, that makes sense. I mean, if you're getting what you need from it, and $55 a month, that's totally good. Okay, I've got Marty Martin in the house, y'all. $15 a month, prepaid, cheap phone. I wouldn't touch iPhone. Yeah, you're probably referring to how much it's spying on us, right? And that sort of thing. And you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. And Dahlia's pointed that out to me too. Like, these phones are just all about taking over your whole deal. And I don't know, man. It's hard to operate these days for a guy like me without something like this. But I do hear you. Also, if you have a prepaid phone, I guess you could go commit crimes, right? Potentially. It was funny. The guy at Verizon kind of sold me like that on the phone when he talked about opening lines. Like, they got to open the line, but hey, did you have a burner phone? You got yourself a burner phone. That was the way he said it, burner phone. Okay, yeah, glad I have a burner phone. What be burner phone? It's not a burner phone. They know exactly who it belongs to. Verizon knows it's me. It's registered to my name. It's just funny. Jay Lee's throwing a hail and kill. Yeah, I saw Neely at the Gary show. Neely showed up. If you're a classic metal show fan, and he'll where he lives, there's certain cities he can make it out to, and it's always cool when he comes out. So I did get to see him. Susie's here tonight. Well, hi there, Eric. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I can sense the Western accent there, Susie. Good to see you. She and I have been talking lately. Good stuff. Mostly. T-Cuz LOL. Prison rules. Got to act like we all locked down in the joint. Slap fight included. Yep. Slap fight, prepaid phones, and our butts. No, hopefully not in your butts. Marty's liking the shirt. Yeah, this one's all right. The company that makes these has the funniest names, like Kufani. Kufani. They're like some like Chinese company, but I don't know. I don't like that word, but the shirts they make fit pretty good, and I like that they could be like untucked, if you will. There was a couple other Western shirts I got, and one of them was like a white one that had some nice embroidery, and it was from an old company. I guess it's been making these for like 100 years or something. And the shirt showed up, but when I put it on, it was super long. Even though it was a medium, it like felt like it went halfway down my thighs. I went, oh, this is like a real cowboy shirt that you must tuck into your pants and have the big belt buckle and the whole deal. You know what I mean? Like an elder cowboy guy. Not even that. I mean, to be honest, some of these states I go to and cities we play in, especially at a fair or something like that, you would be amazed how many Western styled young people there are that go to these concerts and stuff, all in their cowboy boots and, you know, shirts, Western shirts and belt buckles and cowboy hats. And it's crazy. Like, obviously a fair will have like sometimes multi stages going on, and they'll, if they have a big country artist playing, oh man, there's like, that's who they're all there to see. And it's a sight to behold. Let's see. Director had Davo Paul, or is it Davo? Aloha for Kauai. Talk about the new guitarist addition to the SP band. Curious at AF to the whys and hows. Well, you know, Bloss was the one I think that hooked that up, and you know, he knows Joel from you know, being a fellow TSO guy. Joel is in that Trans-Siberian Orchestra on the East Coast, and Bloss does the West Coast version, and these two versions operate in the holiday season, and they just take over, and it's a super dope gig. And you know, obviously you get to the level of playing and something like that, to me that's like kind of the pinnacle of like musicianship, and meets performance, meets getting, man, they really take care of their people. Like, the longer that you're there, the more they take care of you. And it's I mean, for a guy that's as frugal and simple like me, the amounts that they make for the 2 months that they do, I would be living like a king on, because I don't do anything really. But these guys are all go-getters, you know, both those guys, and they love staying busy all the year and keeping their chops up. And Joel's like totally out there doing stuff. He's out with Brandon Gibbs a lot, doing his acoustic gig with him. He's doing clinics. He has one coming up in San Diego this week, I believe. It seems like he's everywhere, but all of a sudden, his name had come up. I'm pretty sure Bloss had brought it up further back, even. And you know, the fact is, you know, the guy that Joel replaced, you know, had way more strikes than a normal person would be allowed to get, and that's because our tour manager was able to keep him around way longer than he should have been. He just didn't represent us, like our way of thinking. His I don't want to go too deep into it, but this has been something that should have gone down, you know, a long time ago. There are so many people that could play this stuff, the Ratt stuff. It's silly to think that these guys were responsible for any success of Ratt or Steven or the band. I mean, these days there's 25-year-olds out there that could totally play the Ratt stuff. Look at Logan Stoliker. You know, he had no rehearsals with us. He looks like a young Warren. You'll see him again. Like, when these guys go and do the TSO thing, Logan will be brought back in if any shows that we have at that time. Just like you know, Jimmy Deanda gets brought in from Bullet Boys. He does great with us. He's always been solid to come in. With Bloss just recently, Sabotage had to go play some shows overseas, and those guys are a part of the Sabotage guys are a part of the TSO. And when they call upon you for something, oh man, you gotta go serve them, you know. And basically, he had to have Jimmy come in, and Jimmy came in and did a couple shows with us. There's some road vlogs for that, and I think he always does amazing. And I was a fan of Bullet Boys when I was a young teenager, and it's super cool to have these musicians in our circle to come in and keep the band going and keep Steven's music alive. And we've had this most solid, musicians lately than we ever have. And I feel like now our game stepped up even more. I mean, with Joel coming in, there's something happening in the audience that I see where we're taking them to the next level. Like this last, he's only done like 3 shows, I think, but this last one, I swear, and these are like older crowds. There was somebody on somebody's shoulders. I think I saw a boobie. I mean, it's getting that old rock show feel going again. Like no one's sitting down, and I could feel it that people are digging it. Of course, there's always going to be people that trolls that say crappy things, either for whatever reason, but they'll even say like Joel's above playing in our band or something like that. I don't agree with that. I totally understand why he took the gig. I mean, we're playing a platinum catalog. Steven Ratt's probably sold like I'm close to 20 million records or something like that. So us guitar player guys that get the awesome experience of playing, as a replacement guy or whatever in some of these bands, we don't turn around and look at 5, double platinum albums or whatever on the wall behind us like the Ratt guys do, or Whitesnake, or I don't know. Joel played a Night Ranger too, which is pretty dope. He's done some really cool stuff over the years. I've kind of stuck with Steven through, thick and thin, if you will. It's paid off in the sense that, I've had a really long career with him doing this, and it's always given me some glimmer of hope to have some adventure and excitement. There's nothing more exciting than getting some plane tickets and knowing you got to go on this adventure. You don't know how it's going to go, who you're going to see there. But I think men, and maybe women too, need that in their life. Otherwise, life's just, if you don't have a little bit of danger, it's just like not worth living. I don't want to bum people out with that. Is there another super chat? Nick's Wiki Rocks. Yeah, what's happening? Became a YouTube member. Well, thank you so much for doing that. And I keep talking about it, but I am going to add some special content onto the channel soon. There's going to be some behind the scenes Fright Bite stuff and some extra footage maybe from some of the road things. This last one was fun. It has Sebastian Bach's in it a little bit. That show where we had the problems with the sound company or whatever, Sebastian was on right before us, so you see him kind of talking to us for a minute. But when we're backstage, I kind of film his banter to the crowd, which he was like, I thought he was entertaining. The place we played in Wisconsin, I guess that land there is a big frisbee golf. It looked like a golf course, but I guess it's big frisbee golf place. And he was making comments about it, and then he had a frisbee, and he was just being a nut. He would like throw the frisbee out, and if people didn't throw it good, he'd stop the song and then have to start it over and things like that. I mean, I dig that in a way. Like, I think people that were there are going to remember his performance, and his band is super tight. They can totally roll with it. They're not on tracks. They're just a full blown, rock trio. I guess it's a small band. They only have the one guitarist going right now, but you'll see some of him in there. But I'm just trying to think of extra stuff that I could put on the channel. Certainly more stuff as when this record comes out, the Dog Mob, Stephenpearcy record. Man, I'm so proud of like some of these songs on there. And I know I'm not trying to just hype it up. Like I was really blown away at how good of a job Steven and Matt did on the vocals for Steven. Some of these songs, this one, a song is gonna be called On the Edge, and it's gonna be the single, I believe, off the record. We're supposed to do a video for it, and what have you. And wow, this song is so goddamn good. Like it blows me away. But there's definitely like about 5 songs that I'm just like stunned at how good they are, and all of them are good in their own way. Some of them are even like old school. Some of he wrote a few songs on there that I play on, but we had some guest guitar players on this. Joel did play on it. We also had Will Hunt from Evanescence. He was playing in Godsmack for a minute, and now they have Mike Mangini has joined the band, and Will, I think, is back with Evanescence. But Doug Aldrich, dude, that guy, he plays on one of my songs. Like the songs that I wrote, I think there's 8 of them. I play the solos on, I think, like 7 of them, if I'm not mistaken. But we had a few guest guitar players on some of Steven's solos. I do a solo on one of his songs, and then he had some other good players. But Doug played a solo on one of my tunes, and man, it's good. So good. I was just like, I was working out yesterday. I was listening to it, and I'm like, holy shit, people are going to be blown away by this. I mean, I knew Doug was another one of those like awesome players and go-to hired guys over the years. Another guy that's played in Whitesnake and stuff. And man, you guys are going to just lose it when you hear this. Tim Lloyd's saying that hillbillies rule.
You're frightening me, hillbilly.
You're frightening people, Tim. I don't know. It's because you like to 69 or what? Playing around. John Evans, thank you, sir. Have you ever played a Jens Benz El Diablo 100 amp head? I picked up a mint condition head earlier today just to check it out. It's built like a tank and sounds cool. A tube amp looks cool too. Jens Benz. No, have you guys heard of this company? I have not heard of it. I'll have to check it out. One cool thing about YouTube is how many demos there are. Those usually do good for YouTubers, but I'll have to look and see if they have a demo of the head you're talking about. I feel like the El Diablo, like I might have like seen the model of it. You know how guitar players can model an actual real amp. I've done it with my Splon. I take it in my Tonex when I travel. But I think I have like played the model of it, but I've never plugged actually into it. But I'm stoked that you're happy with it and you got a good deal on it in mint condition. There's good deals going on with equipment right now because people are going more digital and not buying amps quite as much. Okay. John Evans, the Von Brain Scan cracks me up. Great character. Totally different from you, Eric. Well done. Yeah. Thank you. Take a sip here. To do Von Brain Scan, I have to make sure that I haven't like showered in like 2 days and I've just woken up from not having a lot of sleep. And I just got to look old, shitty, and puffy, and don't put any like filters and get the Von Brain Scan wig. He's somewhat modeled after Dr. Fauci. And I think all my characters, some of these were born on the Chris Aiken Presents a couple years back, but they've evolved, if you will. Like, and I think most iconic stuff that we've ever seen in Hollywood or whatever, you see the pilot of the show or whatever, and what it ended up turning into, and then becomes a movie, you know, Batman or whatever. You've seen or Superman, the costume changes, right? That they had initially when it first came out versus when it became the iconic look for the characters. And I feel like with all the work and just sticking to it, finally it's catching a vibe where the Count's look and delivery. Same with the other characters. Dr. Von Brainscan. I love that Dahlia does characters too. She does Dr. Ivana Howl, one of the other scientists on there. And she has a lot of fun doing this, and in her life too. It's fun to do exciting things, like doing a live show is exciting. You're like, man, all these people are watching, anything can happen. Yeah. Did I miss this? No, I got everybody. Okay, cool. Sorry, I was trying to stay on top of it. Yeah, used to get some killer skunk, Jay Lee. Yeah, the skunk, Agent Skunk should be interesting, but that's going to be a live action player on the team. So Stoney's got the iPhone 12 Pro Max. That's pretty cool. So yours was able to hold more. I'm imagining you had more storage on there. So you're probably still good for a while. I think back when I upgraded to that 12, I was still pretty poor, and I was like, just took the base model. But there's a couple things that roped me on the Pro Max, that the screen was just even bigger. Like, I don't know, let me put a photo or something on here. But you can see just the way I forgot how many inches this is, but pretty significant compared to the 12. And as I get older, I want to be able to see it. The other thing was the zoom. The fact that it could do that crazy zoom is cool. Like sometimes I could see Catalina Island from here, and I want to like zoom in with the video and take a photo of it to show you guys, because normally I shouldn't be able to see it in its entirety, because the distance and the curvature of the earth should obscure it, but it doesn't. And I want to prove it. Because the extra cloud storage and other stuff should be tax deductible for your line of work, I would think, but maybe not. No. Yeah, there's times where when I need to write stuff off, yeah, I write it off. But yeah, it hasn't been too much. But I do my taxes every year. I did it this past year too. It's funny that they tax you. You have to do taxes for like your royalties, which are so petty. I mean, because we haven't put out a record in a while, like my BMI and stuff, I probably collect like under $200 a year from the records and stuff that I've done. That's how bad the residuals are with streaming and everything. And then you got to pay taxes on that. Like I got to file those tax forms, anything, even Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. YouTube is Google. You're getting a Google check if you've made it to the monetized part, right? You need to have at least 1,000 people subscribe to you, and you have to have 4,000 hours of watch time accrued, I guess. I think it even has to be within a month. You have to, within a month's time, I've hit it 4,000 hours of watch time. There might be a way, if you have a certain crazy amount of subscribers, where they'll let you monetize sooner. But it's a struggle. There's a lot of small YouTubers out there that never quite get to even the 1,000. And I'd say what contributed most to it was definitely doing road vlogs. But that's something that all musicians nowadays do. It's just become avenues of revenue that we had to dip into, because, like I said, streaming, you're just, it's not in our favor. You're getting pennies, or fractions of a penny, with each spin of your song on digital formats. There's ways to sell your music still. This was telling me that Stevie Rochelle does something cool where he'll buy like an amount of vinyl records for Tough and then sell those. And he basically, I think he said, he gives like the guys that played on it a certain amount of the albums, right? And says, you could do whatever you want with these, sell them or whatever. There's your cut. And then he does well. Like people buy them, collectors and such. And, when you're offering a little more like that, a big vinyl, nice record, There's people that'll invest in such a thing. I don't know about buying the old CDs anymore. I mean, I have to have like a separate little drive to even play those here. What else do we have here? T-Cuz hates those bastards at the WEF. Yeah, it's true. John Evans, hey Jay Lee, I love that skunk back in the 80s and 90s. Great shit. Houston. Yeah. Interesting. Marty Martin, music is already gone that way. Won't be able to buy CDs soon with the big bands because they all sold their catalogs. Yeah. When they do that is when you start hearing the classic songs and all the TV commercials. They finally sold out and got their money. But there's a point where it makes sense, especially if you're getting up to your 70s or whatever. You should have a little bit of time where you're a multi-millionaire. And most musicians aren't. I mean, there's of course the ones at the top, the very top pop artists of all time that of course have a ton of money and made the good investments. That's another cool thing too, is like these people, once they get in the club and start getting the fame in this, they also get good business opportunities, hey, the people that want to be friends with them, so they cut them in on something, right? And they just get chances to make even more money out with outside investments than they probably made with their music in a lot of cases. If they were early investors in something perhaps, or somebody that was like, Bitcoin, dude, you got to do it. I don't own any of that stuff. Spicoli's saying, fire it up. You need some DLR. Come on. I got some DL. Where's my DLR? Come on. You got it, buddy. I always got some DLR on tap. Cool necklace. I'm going to bring Steven 2 gifts in August in Gatlinburg. Can hardly wait. Yeah. It's going to be, there's 2 Warren Carlos shows. And that's cool. You get to go see him. The Monsters on the Mountain. That's a good one for people to fly out to, right? If you're a fan of the band's playing. Isn't Bret Michaels is playing? I think Rick Springfield. Good stuff. I noticed some of these festivals are like cutting it back. They're cutting it back to like a one-day thing. And again, I don't think it's necessarily that because the fan base is aging out, but I think it's just a reflection of the economy. People are just you guys could probably chime in here, but it's like you're probably just kind of getting by in a lot of ways, and not able to indulge in concert tickets and going to do stuff like that unless you have some awesome job that allows you these luxuries. T-Cuz is saying, hit the like button, y'all. Yeah, like button helps. If you're watching this on the rerun, leave me a comment. Say hi. How you doing? Let me know if you're going to see us play somewhere. I know we're working on getting shows going. We, the whole band ourselves, obviously, we've had a lot of crazy changes and stuff. And when that happens, it affects, how you're moving forward. That year, we've changed agencies. And these things make it take time before you get back out there. But I keep a smile on my face because I know we will be back out there. As we know, Ratt's a classic, timeless band. And Steven's still putting on good shows and singing so good on this new record. And obviously, we're going to have to go out and promote this. And I'm excited to have been a part of this, that when you guys hear these songs, I think it's going to kind of cement. I feel like kind of cemented in as a contributor in that regard. And there's other people I've already heard the stuff that kind of agree that it's like definitely top notch. I know Fred Curry freaked out when he heard it, so that was a compliment. Spicoli saying, give him the serum, dude. I got a serum right here. I mean, are you sure you want me to turn into a werewolf on Unleashed night? Or should I save it for the Fright Bite? Studio's going good. I'm doing just some like overdubs here. It's like we got the basic thing laid out. I think there's just like Steven's doing 13 songs on here. I think there's 2 he needs to sing on still, and there's a couple that a drummer needs to like put the real drums onto. Aside from that, it's pretty much good enough to be a done record, even as is right now. I'm just hearing things as I'm listening to what Steven's saying on it finally. I mean, some of these compositions I've had for like 6 or 7 years, maybe 8. And like I said, I had 40 songs that I gave Steven, and all of them are kind of cool, but he ended up with, he had 4 that he wrote. And then there's 8 that he's using of mine. And right now I'm just like listening to it, hearing where I could put in a little cool overdub, you know. Some of that stuff I got to hear what the singer's doing before I can like, I don't want to step on the song too much until then, you know. I know where the main solo is probably going to be, and maybe I'll throw a scratch solo like when I'm writing the composition musically, when I go, Steven, what do you think of this for a song idea? And I'll send him like a 3-minute 30-second, you know, composition that's got a, you know, the riffs, the verses, the choruses, you know, pre-choruses, a bridge, a solo section. I mean, it's pretty much, you know, for rock stuff, you could tell what you're supposed to do. And it's just cool that he came up with stuff that I was kind of hearing. It was close to what I was hearing. And sometimes stuff I wouldn't have thought of, you know. But, you know, when you write something, you're kind of sketched what the person's going to do with it, or if they're going to do it justice or whatever. And I was like, how's this going to be? But as I heard the songs come through, I'm like, oh man, this is so goddamn good. But unfortunately, you're going to have to hear me talk about it for a while until it's finally released. But, you know, this is a situation where Steven went in and paid for this to be made. It's not like we got the deal first. This is a different way he's done it. Usually he's like, had a deal, and then we've gone in and recorded it, and like whatever we had that fit into that budget, we put it out. Well, this, I think he wanted it to be a little better. He kind of invested in it himself, and I think that was a great way to go for now, just to have it done. Yeah, because I need some teeth. My old teeth are about cooked. The iPhone upgrade will have to wait. Teeth are like 20 or 30 grand. Should be tax deductible. Goddamn crooks. Yeah, that is a big deal. You know, I don't want to talk about people I know that have had to deal with that. I've been fortunate so far in the teeth. I've avoided dentists for the most part. I haven't been to one since I was like probably 20 years old. Mostly because I didn't have insurance and couldn't afford that kind of care growing up. And I thought they were kind of, you know, shystery in a lot of ways. But there's some stuff from when I smoked cigarettes, like some gum stuff, receding gum stuff, right in that area where the cigarette would always be. It's kind of chewed up right there. I don't know if they'd have to do surgery or, you know, something like that there. But then I'll see like a news story where some dude died going to the dentist, just having some kind of like anything involving like an anesthesia. That's where they get you. The person like screwed up and turned the thing up a little too much, and you take your last breath at the dentist office, and you really didn't even have to go. I mean, obviously, if I had some horrible dental pain or something, I would go to the dentist. I would go, it's an emergency. Please, let's, you know, take care of this. But like, I'm pretty much like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I don't think they find cavities you didn't know you had. Like, as far as I know, I don't think I have any cavities. Like, I don't feel anything weird, but I mean, goddamn, they get in there with their tools and stuff. They're like, how about this? How about this? They're like digging into your tooth. I mean, I think they know what they're doing when they stick like some super sharp tool down into your tooth, where you're like, ow, oh, that must be a cavity. Or they love giving root canals. I feel like my mom's like had like 30 root canals. Damn. Ticos rocks the Levi's. Yeah, I mean, they've been around forever. Their whole marketing things changed a lot recently, but whatever. I mean, what other guy? Do you guys wear other brand jeans? What jeans y'all wearing? Tell me. Stretch jeans are the greatest. Get the slim fit. Yeah. I mean, no matter how fat I get, it seems like from like just below the waist down, I always stay the same, and it's pretty much skinny down there. But as these jeans have kind of evolved over the years, like they become stretchier and they're more low waisted, of course, right? So that's how, even when I got fat, I didn't realize it because it was sitting below my gut, the pants, but the old school 501s, you got to pull them up more close to your belly button. I was talking to my dad for Father's Day. We said Happy Father's Day, by the way, belated to all you dads out there. But of course, birthdays, holidays, and Father's Day, I'll reach out to my dad, right, and talk to him. And we were talking about health and pant sizes. And he was like a 38 or something, he said. I'm like, man, you need to hit the gym. Shoot. I mean, he's had heart attack and stents and stuff himself, but I've been doing pretty good. I mean, I'm happy that I put in this last, I don't know how long it's been, probably like 3 months of really trying to get to the gym and exercise. And yeah, I went down two pant sizes. As far as different styles of jeans, like I said, the Levi's is kind of the higher waisted, but I've had to buy new pairs recently. The old ones are just too big and they just start to sag, and nothing looks worse than that. Johnny Ponder, I bought vintage ratt on Etsy. It took forever, 2 weeks, but it was great quality. Well, yeah, I mean, if you finally got your stuff, I mean, did he wait 2 weeks to even buy a label? I mean, I just feel like why would somebody wait all that time? It's embarrassing, I had the other bad experience where I bought a Western shirt and the person said it was in excellent condition. And this is like one of the last times I'm going to buy like a used but excellent condition item clothing wise, because this thing had obviously been through the wash a ton of freaking times. I mean, all the black was like totally washed out of it, and obviously these shirts are going to shrink after, once you've washed a shirt in the wash like 20 times, it shrinks, right? And I could tell that this thing had been through the ringer. Marsha's popular. Hi, Marsha. Yeah. Willie Wayne. Yo, Eric, hope you're good. Snoop Von Poops in the house. What up, playa? Yeah. Yeah, good to see you, buddy. Head over to Snoop Von Poop's channel, give him a follow and a like. He does interviews and has his own podcast over there. They made you do more lines. What kind of lines are we talking about? Lines of script on a show? I can't do cocaine. That was one thing when I had a heart attack, and like the medications that I'm on, the beta blockers, like one of the EMT guys is like, listen, one thing you cannot do is cocaine. You'll die. You're on beta blockers. I don't even know what the scientific reason for it is, but apparently if with these medications I'm on, if I actually did a line of cocaine, I'd die right here on the show. Some people have accused me of being on cocaine, but no. I drink way too much goddamn coffee. I sipped that like it was hot and it's cold as shit. But I'm a good actor. Yeah, I mean, how much coffee do you guys drink? I consider there to be like restaurant pots and home pots of coffee, and like my little like coffee maker or whatever. I mean, it says it's 12 cups in a pot, but I guess it is. I mean, but I will definitely drink a whole pot to myself. And Susan she's pretty good with coffee. She apparently can just drink 1 cup of coffee in the morning and just be good for the entire day. Me, not so much. I like to speedball it. I do like mad coffee, and then I got my bong hits, and that's how I roll, But with these blood pressure medications taking me down, like I feel like I got a coffee all through the day. So I'll drink anywhere from a pot to a pot and a half, which is what, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, Yeah, about 17 or 18 cups of coffee, which is probably not good for my heart, but it keeps me up, keeps me productive thus far. Jay Lee's weighing on this phone thing is a hot topic tonight. AT&T paying $90 a month. He's got 2 phones, unlimited. That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, family plans do the best. You guys out there with families know what I'm talking about. Like, they'll hook the whole family up with iPhones just for opening up some extra lines and stuff. I could hear him doing the deal in the store when I was there. She's like, we could do this right now. You could have the brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max. And this is just a regular person out there that's not even doing all the crazy videos like I'm doing and stuff like that. One interesting thing was like, as the young lady that was hooking up my order at Verizon for this phone, she was having to do all this typing and stuff. And like, I don't even want to joke around and like interrupt people when they're doing something like an order like this. Like, I've had it to where they could screw up something and then it's a big burden later to undo their mistake they made or something. I've even had weird stuff with Verizon. So like, I was just being quiet through this, trying not to, distract her. Right. And the guy, that earlier when I was talking about how they have like an older, arrogant kind of manager that's really loud, that's kind of the alpha guy of the store. Like, he was over talking to one of the coworkers and telling her he was on a phone call or something. He was like talking about a ticket that he had and this and blah, blah. Well, anyways, the girl doing my order, like, here, I'm not interrupting her. And she's completely listening to this other guy. Like, she all of a sudden, hey, we could do that, whatever report. He was talking to his coworker about something and she's like weighing in on it as she's doing all this typing for my thing. I'm like, well, shit, I guess I could have talked to her during this time, but it hasn't been an exact perfect thing. They do try to make it easy for you, like transferring your old data onto your new phone. They're like, just put the phone up to the old one and it'll do it. And it kind of did. But now it's like, it thinks this is an iPhone 12 in a lot of places. It's like, oh, your iPhone 12. And I'm like, no, this is a 17, but it copied everything over from the 12. And now it recognizes this as a 12. It's kind of, I'm getting old when this stuff gets too complex for me. Johnny Ponder, I would like to see Matt come on the show. Just a conversation between you two would be awesome. Yeah, I can ask him about it. I will say that you were asked, Matt, about being on the show if you would like to come on and see what he says. He might say no, but he might say yes. I think I have like a good drop for that.
What if I told you I'd take you to a place you'd never been and do something to you that's never been done?
That's not the one I was looking for. I was looking for this one.
My immediate reaction is no, but I've got kind of a yesy aftertaste.
Maybe his immediate reaction will be no, but then he'll have a yesy aftertaste. We can only hope so. Surprisingly, Matt and his wife Ramel are fans of the Fright Bite, which I was so super surprised to find out. But they actually watch the show. I think it's funny, and I thought that was cool. I mean, they both work in the entertainment business, so like to hear that is a super big compliment. Spicoli, LA Guns, Wasp, and Ratt. Sorry I missed that tour. Yeah, it was I had an amazing time on that, even though we had our own personal stuff going on during that tour. Like just watching Wasp play every night and LA Guns was cool. I mean, probably one of the first bigger tours I was on, and I partied hard. I was just in my early 30s or whatever, and believe me, I made the most of it. Jim Martinez, good evening. I made it. Well, we're happy you made it, sir. Your butt bongos have been a big hit everywhere. No, we're happy to have you here, Jim. He's a recent recipient of a mystery box from the Fright Bite. He played Dahlia's Wheel of Misfortune. He opted for a mystery box and ended up getting a hat from Ratt. That's right. When Piercy gives me cool stuff, I pass it forward. I pay it forward to you guys in a mystery box. Does Blackie toke, dude? Not to my knowledge. I'm going to say no. I don't think he probably doesn't. Maybe doesn't do anything. I'm sure in the 80s was different, right? But I'd have to ask. I mean, I know Mike Duda, the bass player, who's been the bassist in Wasp forever, and he's definitely a friend. I guess I could ask him, does Blackie even drink or anything? I feel like he might drink occasionally. But definitely, I don't think he drinks before he goes on stage or anything like that. And I'm going to say he does not toke, sir. No. Joel and Eric, what a duo. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep up. I mean, obviously, it's a little easier for me. I'm just kind of doing the Robin role, if you will. So I don't even have that many like solos I'm doing right now. I'm just holding it down. But I'm cool with that. I mean, there was something going out there like I was jealous of people, or that is so silly. I mean, it's much easier not to have to deal with doing the solos. I mean, you can rock out more, less responsibilities in a lot of ways. And I'm just happy to like be on the stage with all these guys. You know what I mean? Just being a part of it is good enough for me. You know, I get to sing backups and I get to run around on stage and have a guitar turned up super loud. And what's there to complain about? Or I mean, I'm definitely, you know, I could concede when somebody's phenomenal on guitar. I mean, you watch Joel play, it's like, you know, we're actually having him, you know, start to do a guitar solo live during the show. We got one of those kind of guys now. None of your business. Hey, Eric, hope you're having a great evening. The show last year in Niagara Falls was absolutely amazing. Can't believe it's been a year. Ha ha ha. Well, yes, sir. I'm glad that you were at that gig, and I loved that playing that place. That was super cool. I had an awesome room facing the falls. Like I'd never been on the Canadian side before. I'd been to like Buffalo, New York, and I've been like walked and kind of heard some falls in the distance, but this was like, you know, looking out my hotel window and just seeing it. And then at night they put all these crazy lights on the Niagara Falls. It's pretty dope. And that was another like casino that most of those casinos always took care of us, but they took care of us too much. You know what I mean? To where that's how I got so goddamn fat, was like around 2024. I feel like we played every casino in the United States, and they just give you like, when you're a national act that plays there, they give you food credits. Like, hey, anywhere from like, if say you're there 3 days, you might get like $500 or $600 worth of food credits potentially. Anywhere from like $3 to, you know, $500 or $600, where they're like, you could spend this on any of the restaurants that are in our casino, and then you almost feel like obligated to spend it, you know. And so you find yourself eating breakfast at a restaurant, you're eating lunch, dinner, going for some crazy desserts late at night, going for an extra late second dinner, things like that, buying stuff for the road. Anyways, let me see. I already did that. Spicoli says we're definitely in a simulation, dude. I mean, it feels that way, this life, for me. I mean, for some people, they just feel like they're in a living hell. You know what I mean? Like, I think all of us, no matter how bad things are, there's somebody that's got it way worse. Now, are they a real person, or are they part of the simulation? We don't know. I mean, I remember the first time I really saw any unfortunate people was like when I, you know, living here in San Diego, we can cross the border and go into Tijuana into Mexico. And right when you're crossing the border, you'll see like what looks to be the most poorest people, to be like an old, like a 110-year-old lady will be sitting there, and she's got like no eyeball and can't even afford a patch. So you're like looking into her head. You're like, oh, you know. Anyways, I wonder, like, are these real people, or is this just like some very person that's just put in there to make you not feel so bad about your life, or whatever? Or you get these people that like they're working at the same like remedial job for like decades, and you're like, is this a real dude? Like, how did you not move on at some point? What we're talking about is, what is the word? What do you call those people that NPCs? non-player characters, which is a concept that's probably wouldn't have been able to wrap our heads around before playing video games, but when you think of playing inside a video game and like you have the opportunity to play the computer, or you're nowadays playing online with real people out there, sometimes your buddies, most of the time, right? If you're playing Call of Duty or something like that. But let's say you're not playing with buddies online and you just want to play the computer. Well, that's a simulation, right? It's simulating the other players in the game. And on a grander scale, we could potentially be living in a simulation where they have NPCs here. Like, to us, they seem like real people, but they don't actually maybe have the souls that us real people have. They're just almost like Westworld or some shit, like in here. They're just in here to keep the game moving. You know what I mean? To kind of, hey, you need to go to the next town or whatever they have. You know what I'm trying to say, right? Cricket works great for Josh Krager. He gets service even in the dead zones. Not all, but most, I believe all phones have that struggle, though. Yeah, I feel like they've continued to make cell towers, erect cell towers, and geez, these 5G towers aren't good for anybody that's near them, and they've gotten kind of clever at disguising some of those huge monstrosities, but that those 5G, that's not even for us. My phone whenever my phone stops working, I look and it goes 5G and has like 5 bars and my phone's totally not working. That's just for like, I don't know, the control system to use, or just like business models or something. That's not like a consumer line, I feel like. 20 million worldwide. That's impressive. Yeah. Some of Ratt's earlier records went like multi-platinum. I mean, can you imagine being like stephenpearcy, like being like 23 or 24 years old and you're selling millions of copies and making millions of dollars back in like 1980s money? You're like buying multiple houses. You're like got the platinum records on the wall. You could go do anything. You're playing these, like, you go on YouTube and watch these like Ratt concerts from 1984 and 1985 where they're playing arenas, just going, man, look at this, guys. Everybody in the band, the lives that they had back then in the 80s, driving crazy cars and buying big houses. And it's when you think about, though, being young and being handed that, not handed, I mean, they earned it, right? I mean, they wrote great songs and put on great concerts. But it could add to your ego or like give you a false sense of superiority. Maybe that's not the right word to use, but I kind of get it when these guys that made it young kind of struggle sometimes later on. And for an example, like Sebastian's one of those guys where he's had this like amazing career from his teenage years. I mean, he was really young in Skid Row. I think he was only probably 19 years old or something when he was in that band, similar to Tommy Lee, right, of Motley. It's just barely out, and Warren DeMartini, like just barely out of high school and making millions of dollars and being in the top rock acts at that time. And it could mess with you a little bit. Not all people, some people can keep it together. Some people become recluses and don't really deal with the real world, or don't like dealing with the fame of things. That's common too. I don't like crappy comments. No. Yeah, it's crappy comments. It's tough not to react to them. I mean, generally, when there's been attacks on my channel or people have come in to troll, I'll usually not even respond to it. I'll just mute them, or if it's a really mean thing, I'll report it for harassment. But I don't even know how many times it takes for somebody to be penalized. I mean, whenever I click on the troll account, if you will, it's like a total burner account. You look, it's like they have no videos they've ever put out. They only have like no people following them. And to me, that's just a fake account that somebody's doing. Maybe there's somebody that knows me personally. You never know who they are, these people, or what what their deal is. I mean, when I see somebody attacking somebody on the internet, my first thought is that guy must have banged his girlfriend or something, like back in the day. It's possible. Zachary Attacker, Warren is one of the greatest guitarists of his era. No one could possibly be above playing Ratt songs. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was laughable to me, like the people that got to come in and troll comments. Wow, Joel's really slumming it now. Oh, is he slumming it, playing for a multi-platinum rock icon? I think he's like right doing the level that he wants to be. You know what I mean? Plus, Steven takes great care of us, as far as salaries and these sort of things. So it's not a BC level gig to play in the Piercy band. You're playing the shows like the top guys play, and you're totally taken care of, all expenses, your own hotel room. It's a dream come true, to get to this point. So, I mean, he's a lucky dog. I mean, he works his butt off, but that he's gotten to the point where he can do the TSO and then have a gig like this. I mean, he probably earns what a doctor, brain surgeon would own. He does that with his guitar, which is incredible, really. Pamela, what's happening? I've known Steven in 1982 in Diego. Steven is awesome. 40 years of rockin'. Well, that's so cool, Pamela. We're both San Diego people here. And yeah, it's a culture and a way of life. And your generation, was there, when rock was king, and these Southern California West Coast bands were making it big. Ratt and Motley and Quiet Riot and these bands. It was just magical times, right? Steven, of course, left San Diego to head up to Hollywood, where this new band Van Halen was making it big. Yeah. And he took his guys up there right in the nick of time. And yeah, the rest is history. Hit that like button for Erik. Do it. Yeah, I appreciate it. Make sure, we got, it looks like a good amount of people here tonight. If you guys all hit that like button, it helps. It helps the show get out there. Steven's band, Ratt, has been rocking 40 plus years and beyond. Yeah. He has. He's going to be, if you could believe it, 70 years old. Isn't that insane? The good thing, as I've said this before, I love seeing like Alice Cooper still out playing. That dude's going to be 80. I would love it if Steven could stay out there that long. I mean, whatever we could do to make that happen, if it's making kick-ass records for him to keep him out there, I'll keep writing them. Okay, Nikki, how you doing, dear? Will you be playing the show in Orlando with Steven and Warren? No, I won't be there, but it's going to be a special night. It's going to be a special night to see Warren and Steven together, so you will not be disappointed. And Blossom Matt from our band will be there, but no, I'll be home. From what I understand, this is like the last two shows these guys are going to be doing for the time being, and then Steven's kind of focus on solo and got the record coming out, and we'll see where that takes us. But as far as like the plan for this next year, that's how it's going to go. Jay Lee wants to know what's the largest crowd I've ever played. I feel like one of the largest ones was when we did Speed Week in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's like one of those events where they shut down the whole downtown city of Charlotte, and it's just like the whole population is there, so it's like you're just looking at like block after downtown city block of just people as far back as you could see. It's just kind of crazy. I don't know what the exact number was. Another big one that we did was, I believe, in Florida. They do a Roar on the Shore event, and that was another similar situation. One memory I have of that, where they dropped us off to play the event, was behind the stage, and it seemed like no one was there. I go, oh, this is going to be lame. And it was the same deal. Like, it was a big stage set up right in the middle of a downtown street. And as I walked up behind the stage and walked up and looked, it was like, oh my God, it was the same deal. It was just like, looked like 1 million people as far back as you can see. Like some of those city events just get massive crowds. Most bands that play for big crowds, the record ones are usually overseas, that they do events that see, you know, huge numbers playing for like whatever, 1 million people or something. I think Metallica was one of the ones that played like for the biggest amount of people. Skylar saying Fright Bite was fun last night. Yeah. We'll definitely be at the one Tuesday because there's going to be a werewolf battle, Skylar. And there's going to be multiple bad guys. There's a new good guy, wolf, that's joining the team. Agent Skunk. Yeah. Okay. Sure, I quite enjoy both hangouts. Well, I'm stoked when you guys come to both hangouts. That's great. Lee Ming's here. Lee Ming, hello. Well, hey, Lee Ming's got a crazy face challenge. So if you can get in the chat and you write something, you put a crazy face there, that means you've accepted Lee Ming's challenge. That's right. Jay Lee, we pay over 20 grand a year in property tax, but that's on 3 homes and a few hundred acres. Yeah. Yeah, property taxes are BS, man. I've heard something. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but Jay Lee, if you bury someone on your property, I don't think you have to pay taxes anymore. Is that an urban legend, or there might be some truth to it? It might change from state to state. We got Arizona here. Harem 5, yo. Well, good to see you. People, Arizona people love to come to Oceanside, where I live here, especially this where Susan and I live, this condo. There's always these huge trucks that come here from Arizona, and families. They got big families, and they come out here and they enjoy the beach and the amenities here. And it's just crazy how many Arizona license plates we see from out of town. It's like the one place a lot of people come to San Diego from. Damn, Jay Lee, that's rough. Jay Lee, we farm beans and corn. Well, that's cool. You know, I made beans and corn last night. It was so weird. When you wrote that, I was like, wait, how did you know I had beans and corn last night? Admittedly, though, it was canned, but I mean, I guess it still has to come from a farm initially, right? But that was just me trying to be a nice roommate, right, to Susan. I even though I had the Fright Bite going on, I still made sure that there was a dinner on the table. That woman gets home 5 o'clock from her human job, and I made sure that there was some barbecued chicken. And I also made sure that I opened up a can of beans and a can of corn. I doctored up the corn with some butter, salt, pepper, and cooked up the beans in a pot and the chicken. And hey, you have yourself kind of a decent meal to come home to, you know. So, well, thank you for farming those, sir. John Evans, right on. Hope you all have a great harvest this year. Yeah. Do you have magic beans by chance? Because, yeah, I could use some. Frank Sicko, what's up, Eric? What's happening? Metallica fan. How's the addition of Joel, the new TM, help the dynamics of the band? Well, I think we got people whose attitudes are in the right place. You know what I mean? That we're all just trying to be positive in even the worst of situations, and just having each other's back and these sort of things. I know Bloss has been probably the most outspoken with it, that he's like, wow, it's just so much better now. Obviously, Joel doesn't know. I mean, he knows that he likes us all, and he thinks that we've been cool to him, and he's had fun playing with the band, but he doesn't know any different. You know what I mean? But obviously, Matt, Bloss, and Steven, you know. However, you know, Steven's with us when we're traveling, like in a van or something, but generally he's not always with us. You know, he lives further up north in California, so his flights, he's always by himself when he has to fly. We just kind of see him just before showtime in most cases, so he probably spends the most time with us on stage, if you will. But obviously, you know, he knows what he sees on Steven knows what he sees on stage, and he loves seeing the more action happening, you know what I mean, where it's not left all on his shoulders to entertain the crowd. He said that, it's like when you have, somebody that's just standing there, it's like kind of, I felt in the past, obviously Blas is a very showy player on drums, right? I mean, they hired him to be in the movie Rockstar with Marky Mark. Did you guys know that? Blas is like in the band that's in that movie. He's just the quintessential rock dude. So that helped bring us up a notch, having him, the live dynamic. And he's a way professional dude. Like, you never see Blas saying bad things about people. He's just always positive. He's like, how could you be unhappy? You're playing rock music for a living. You know what I mean? That's like a quote from him. And you can tell Joel's the same way. He's just happy to be out rocking and playing, and he loves a challenge. These guys that could come in a short period of time and like learn those Warren solos is pretty amazing. He was kind of intentionally not playing them exactly note for note. I mean, Joel kind of thought it was lame to like played everything exactly like the record, especially when he's capable of spiffing it up a little bit here and there, mostly when he's left to play his own thing on like an outro solo or something like that. Like when we do, say, Round and Round or something, we have like an extended ending where the lead guy can noodle off for a while. He gets to do his own thing, but it's pretty incredible to hear what he does. And, with some of the Warren stuff, he puts a little of his own panache on it. But, Warren himself doesn't ever play the stuff exactly like the record. He seemed to, maybe when the albums first came out, like maybe in like 84 to 86, when they were extensively touring like that, and the album cycles, he was playing the solos fairly close to how they are. But you have to remember, like when the band goes in and records those, Beau Hill was the big producer for them back then. He was editing a lot of that stuff and cutting it up. Like, I don't know, I'm sure there were songs where Warren had something already worked out ahead of time, but a lot of times when you're under the gun, you have a guitar player come in and just noodle away for a while. And then somebody else's job is to cut it up and like make it work into a solo that makes sense. Most recently, I had to do kind of a studio job like that on one of Steven's songs, this song called Scream Machine, which is a super cool song. It's kind of like, reminds me of almost like the Sweet Barroom Blitz meets like Judas Priest. Or what have you. But what was I going to say about so they needed a guitar solo on there, and it was like, shit, I was up there, and I haven't really even been playing that much, but we got one going. I didn't, it's always nerve-wracking too when you have to like come up with something in front of somebody else. I had to sit there and come up with it in front of Matt, and Steven had shown up at this point, and he was like in the room, and like, I don't know how long you think it takes to like for a guitar player to come up with a decent solo, right, for a song you're recording. Like, how long would it take you, if you're a guitar player, to listen to a song, which I wasn't that familiar with his songs, you know what I mean? I know the ones I wrote, and geez, some of those I wrote 6 years ago. I had to relearn how to play my own damn songs. But when we were in there on this particular day recently working on Stevens, I really hadn't heard the song that many times. So anyway, they showed me where the solo section was, and I listened to it. I'm like, okay. He kind of played me an old Judas Priest song to kind of show what Matt kind of envisioned the guitar solo to be reminiscent of, if you will, that kind of old school heavy metal guitar solo. And I achieved it. I'd say it took us probably 30 minutes for me to come up with this, but it seemed like an eternity. And even towards the end of that 30 minutes, I could hear Steven go, okay, come on already. That even, of course, makes it like the pressure even worse. I mean, the best thing is nowadays when you could be at home and sit there for like 5 hours tinkering around and, finding whatever sounds best. But it's interesting when you're under the gun like that, and it's a do or die situation, and you have to come up with something. It makes it special in a way. It was like now when I hear it, it is a cool solo. I'm happy with the way it came out. It reminds me of like old old school Metallica or Judas Priest solo or something from like the early 80s. But it works with that style of song that we were doing. And also kind of the song reminds me of Sheer Heart Attack from Queen. You guys familiar with that song? So there's some like really cool influences in some of Steven's music that he wrote. So you're going to love his songs. And then the ones that I did are kind of like a modern Ratt, version, if you will, like what Ratt would have been putting out if they had stayed together writing songs this whole time. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. You should showcase one of your guitars every week for us nerds. Yeah. I don't have that many valuable guitars here. I do have of course, my Les Paul I've been playing lately. I have the Charvels. I have a Charvel that Michael Charvel built for me, which was Wayne Charvel's son. They're now Wayne guitars. They sold the Charvel company, has been sold a couple times, but they're still making, the company Charvel's making good guitars. I have like 4 of those. I have the Wayne. I recently got a new SG that's around. Well, I guess the SG's here. I could showcase that. This is pretty dope. I mean, this is one of the first guitar. I just reach around and pull one out. I'm like, guitars? I don't know what you're talking about. This is the sexiest guitar ever made. Like when I first was a little kid, like, whatever, 7 or 8 years old, if we happened to like go into a music store, and this would have been in the early 80s, and this guitar hasn't changed, the Gibson SG, but when I saw it up, like just hanging there in the guitar store, I was just like, oh, it was everything. It was evil and beautiful. It was like sexy. It was like as beautiful as a curvy female or something, right? Just like my attraction to it when I saw it was like the same as when if you're a guy, you have your first crush, or a girl having your first crush, whatever, but you start crushing on somebody all of a sudden, and like that's when it like started. And just the look of this guitar kind of started it all for me. And there's been a couple times throughout my life where I had an SG. I've had to pawn them, before. I've had one I liked and unfortunately had to sell it during a rough time. And I don't know, recently this is one of those guitars where for a Gibson you can get them for a pretty good price. As we know, like Gibson guitars, those are like $3,000 dollar guitars, right? But off like Facebook Marketplace, which is where I got this one, I think I paid $900 for this, which is a pretty fantastic deal. Anyways, so there's a showcase for you, Stoney. Yeah. Okay. Jay Krager's getting some badass jeans tomorrow. Most likely got them on Shein. Yeah, I got burned recently buying stuff off like one of these weird websites on Facebook, as a matter of fact. And I should have known, because it said the name of the clothing place was like OK Gear. OK Gear. Like, it's just okay. But for some reason I'm always thinking about like stage pants, right? And the guys in my band all wear like pretty custom, like tight leather pants, full regalia type stuff. And so like, I don't want to spend that much on that shit, but like, I'll keep an eye out for something that could be cool or whatever. And something caught my eye when I was one night just scrolling through on Facebook. I'm like, yeah, something like that. It said like $50. I'm like, $50. I'm like, hey. And I would never buy something off of Facebook and like give a credit card or something like that. I think I actually ended up using Apple Pay, which I think you're a little safer using that. But I totally found myself buying this pair of pants. I had no idea that it was coming from China. But it was one of those situations where I bought it and then nothing happened for weeks and weeks, because that's what happens. Like, you get it a phenomenal deal, but you got to wait for it to go through customs and all this stuff. And occasionally there's been times where I got some pretty quality stuff. There's some companies. I want to say like was it Brass Knuckle or somebody had some decent stuff that I've gotten before. But this, man, when it finally showed up, it took about a month, and these pants came, and they weren't real leather. I knew that, but they showed up, and it was the thinnest, crappiest, like glued together pants. Like, oh my God, I would never wear something like that. And it didn't even like fit good. It wasn't even like tight leather pants. They were like leather kind of trousers. Like if you had 10 minutes to make a pair of pants, and like they gave you a piece of cheap material and some scissors and some Elmer's glue and told you to make a pair of pants in 10 minutes. That's what these looked like. And it was just like, shit, they got me, man. They got me. I mean, they did send something, and then I read up on it, and they're like, yeah, a lot of times they do these scams on Facebook just to get your personal information. But I mean, they did at least send something out, but I mean, I wasn't even going to bother trying to return it for how much that would have cost. But I will never make that mistake again. I'm never buying anything, no matter how cool they try to make it look on Facebook. I'm never, ever, ever going to buy something off of there ever again. I had to get that off my chest. Back in the day, it was Guess jeans. Yeah. You guys remember when Metallica started wearing Guess jeans? How'd you feel about that? You know, Guess jeans was, I mean, it wasn't the coolest. I mean, it was almost more like a female, brand of jeans to my recollection at the time. But there wasn't too many companies making tight black jeans for guys. There was, up until then, you would wear like maybe tight 501s, and eventually, because they were so tight, they would start getting rips and tears after a while. And that became kind of the look. That was the heavy metal look. It was the Ramones look too. But it seemed like around like 1984, 85, the tighter jeans, like how tight can you get your jeans? And Metallica discovered Guess jeans. Like I remember, because I remember the label on their butt, or at least Kirk Hammett was wearing those. And I think Jason Newsted was also rocking those back then, but they were pretty much the tightest black jeans you could get at that particular time. Then Lip Service and some of these other companies started making stretch jeans and stuff like that. But I remember Metallica wearing Guess jeans, and there was maybe, I don't know, I thought it was kind of weird, but they looked cool. I mean, I've always been on the lookout for different jeans because I've always had skinny legs. No matter how fat I get, I could be an egg on stilts, but I gain all the weight in my stomach and up top. Like it never changes. So I always can wear skinny jeans, if you will. Jay Lee, it was John Travolta from Urban Cowboy. Yeah, that was a great movie. Loved Urban Cowboy. Jay Lee has the movie and loves it. Yeah, Matt would be awesome. People want to see Matt Thorne on here. Well, shit. Well, I'll ask him. Yeah, they're saying Matt's super chill. Well, we'll have him on. I know Joel wants to come on. I mean, mind you, I'm not an interview channel. I mean, I feel like I like to hog it all myself and just be a motor mouth. And I'm lazy when it comes to learning about people. But I will have my friends on and bandmates. So Joel he was the one who brought it up coming on. And I just thought, hey, I want Joel to come on after we've played a show where he felt he played everything great, because right now he's super hard on himself. You know what I mean? Like any little mistake he makes, he beats himself up over it. We're like, whatever. I didn't even hear that, but I want him to come on and just be, positive about it, so I think that'll be soon, probably this next couple shows. I think the next shows we have are actually in the first week in August in like Connecticut, New York or something. T-Cuz, Matt is awesome, would love that. Blackie took over for Johnny Thunders for a Short Dolls tour in the 70s. So the story goes, Blackie likely got the partying out early on and got serious in the 80s. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I feel like, I don't know why, but like I feel like most singers don't smoke a lot of pot. I mean, there's certainly some that maybe do, but I feel like they just generally don't. Am I wrong about that? But I feel like anything where the person's got to remember a lot of words and stuff that they don't. Now, rappers, that's a whole different thing. Like, that's what impresses me the most is like, not only do they remember all the raps, but they like that they could get that high and like actually remember them is cray cray. Jerome's here, everybody. Jerome Davis loves Disney. Hey, how you doing, buddy? And saying hi to everybody. Hi, John Evans. Yeah, we got the whole team here tonight. I love it. Tika, Steven never had the ego, it seems. Obviously, I don't know personally, but Steven told the story of getting blown off by the Duran Duran guy. Yeah, he tried to talk to Simon Le Bon like back when Ratt was first coming out. This is probably 1983, and obviously Duran Duran was like one of the hugest bands on the planet, and he happened to be somewhere that Simon was at, and he asked him for a picture, and Simon blew him off. And so Steven's, the way he tells the story, he goes, oh yeah, well, watch this. That's something that Steven, when he's about to break the rules, he'll always say, watch this. Those two words, you know what's going to follow after him breaking the rules. But anyways, he had told somebody to have their camera ready, right? Back then, you'd have to have a real camera back then in the 80s. He's like, get ready, watch this. And then he went over and was like, hey, Simon, and then he just turned and smiled in the photo. You can look the photo up if you type in Simon Le Bon or Duran Duran and stephenpearcy. The photo comes up pretty quick. But you could see Simon Le Bon looking at him like, what are you doing, dude? You know, kind of look. And Steven's like, hey, pretty funny. Gotta put in perspective when that happens. Yeah. Jay Lee, the people talking poop, what they have never done nothing. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the armchair quarterbacks. I mean, it makes, I feel almost worse for sports athletes, famous sports people, because man, people that have no athletic ability whatsoever are always the biggest loudmouths when it comes to like the performance of athletes on sports teams. They're like, they have a name for it. It's like the armchair quarterback. You've probably heard that term before. And it's like, you know, some guy yelling at the TV set about some guy, or like then going online and calling him a bum or worse, you know. They get death threats, you know. There's a lot of people that bet on sporting events, right? I mean, luckily they don't bet on rock events. Like they bet on how many mistakes we're going to make or whatever during the show. That would be awful. But no, we don't have to really worry about those kind of death threats so much as like athletes, man. When somebody loses a bunch of money or lost the rent money on a team because a guy made an error, man, that guy will just go off and online and stuff, or who knows. But you know, for the most part, I notice there's like, it's sad when it's an older person too, like people that are over 50 acting that way or talking that way. But that's when the real like misery starts to kick in with people, like when their life's already like 3/4 of the way over and it's not going the way they wanted. Who knows? It's probably multiple divorces, family deaths in the family, dead pets, you know, just things that, like, as we know, the struggle is real, right? And it's all like how you go about it. If you can like find ways to you know, choose to be happy or be a pleasant person to be around generally with people, or you just become like a hateful prick troll that just wants to go on the internet and just blast people all the time. And you'd think that it's something that people would grow out of, you know what I mean? But it's weird how I see a lot of like 50 and 60-year-old washed up guys doing that shit, and it's bizarre. Jay Lee, I don't know that I'm not married and never will be. Yeah, no one ever wanted to marry me, I'll be honest. Like, I never had that I never gave women that sense of security that they yearned for. You know, which is struggling musician, man, luckily. And you know, sometimes unexpected child could pull you into the marriage zone. I haven't had that happen either. A lot of sacrifices were made for me to get to this point anyway, where I was able to like stick with it. Normally, if you got married and had a kid, you'd have to grow up and stop playing in a band and get a real human job. What's Tika saying? Eric got a bunch of farmers for fans who rock out. Haha, yeah. Hey man, that's the kind of friends you want to have. I want fans that know how to farm and how to fish, like Jim Martinez. Like if the poop goes down, I'm gonna be calling up Jim and his son, and I'm gonna live like a king, eating all the fish. These guys catch crazy big fish all the time whenever they go out. I've rarely ever caught a fish anytime I go fishing, especially out on a charter boat or something. Never have caught a fish. I caught a fish here off the docks once, and man, I felt bad even killing it. Like I realized even though I talk tough sometimes, I couldn't even like feel good about killing a fish. It was like a episode of Forensic Files, just trying to cut its head off, and I was trying to beat it first to put it out of its misery. It was just, man, I was sweating the whole time. It was like shit. And then I finally cut his head off, and it was like, rah, rah, rah. I was like, J-Rad's out of here. Gotta run, Eric. Thanks. Later, chat peeps. Oh, you're welcome. No, we are definitely getting towards the end of the night here. John Evans bought his youngest son an SG like Tony Iommi, his signature model. He loves it. Yeah. It's a cool guitar. I mean, my Les Paul sounds better. It's probably more solid. Like I feel like that SG, if you're not careful, and I know from when I owned one, they're more fragile than a Gibson Les Paul. Like I've busted not on this guitar, but I busted a horn off an SG before and had to glue it back on. It's just a thinner piece of wood, and more could go wrong with it. Skinny jeans, y'all. Skinny jeans and iPhones. I saw an old dude at the airport wearing skinny jeans, and it's like I had to laugh because he was like, dude was like 80 years old and was rocking like a full pair of skinny jeans. I mean, he fit in it. I mean, his butt looked all right. I have to be honest. Freaky Randy, where did you get your studio from? I sold one that looks exactly like that on eBay around the same time you said you bought it. The studio, where'd I buy it from? I don't know if I'm picking up exactly what you're talking about. I mean, oh, the studio. You're talking about the studio guitar that I have, right? The Les Paul Studio. It's I got that from Guitar Trader in San Diego in around 1992. I was about 19 years old at the time, and it was like the working man's Les Paul. It was like at the time it was like $700 to buy that studio. It was like the cheapest Gibson you could buy at the time, and I bought it, and it needed a setup and stuff, but super solid guitar that, as bad as I've mistreated it over the years, really beat that thing around. It still kind of plays all right. It's got vibe, and I have used it on all the Piercy records and through the years, so it means something to me to have it. And I actually just invested a little bit of money into it last year. Probably spent like $400 having it kind of fixed up and some new stuff, revitalized it, if you will. And I've been taking it because the airlines have sucked, man, with like charging extra for bags and stuff. So now I just like take it with me. I just take one guitar with me, a Les Paul, on these shows, especially since I'm not playing lead. I don't really need a backup guitar. We even tell them to put a backup guitar on the rider now. Yeah, no, some of these I'm not going to read. I don't like giving certain people attention that I just want to like forget about. Steve Lasley, cool. Hey, looking forward to chat with Joel, Matt, and Steven. Yeah, I thought about that too. I will have Piercy, I think, on that definitely around time the record comes out. I mean, I want it to be a special reason to have him on. He's the epitome of rock. Yeah, he is. He's the real deal. Kyle, what's happening? Kyle Pokey Porter. Did you see Hard Rock cafes are closed at some locations? Hope they all don't. Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I that does occasionally happen. And then sometimes an even cooler chain comes along and buys those up, in that case, it's okay. Jay Lee, trust me, I won't get into finances, but we do pretty good. Well, we appreciate that, all your support you've done, Jay Lee, with the show. You're paying it forward. Freaky Randy, I had to sell mine to buy bass gear, but it was the best sounding guitar I ever owned. Yeah, Gibsons generally sound the best. The Charvels sounded really cool too, playing the 80s rock stuff. I like my San Dimas's and SoCal Charvels. I got mine are made in Mexico, believe it or not. Their factories in Tijuana here, and they make good guitars. What can I say? I've played them for the last couple of years. It's just recently I switched back to the Les Paul, but who knows? Maybe I will bust those Charvels back out, but you never know. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. It was fun. Be sure to head over to the Fright Bite on Tuesday. It's going to be a special episode. I'll leave this with Greg Simmons. He says, God bless all the rat and rollers. Jesus saves the sinners. Thanks, Eric. Have me on. I'm the biggest rat fan on the planet. All right. Well, you guys can always do shout outs for the Unleashed channel or the Fright Bite, and I'll play those definitely as commercial breaks. If you're a fan of the show and you want to say hi to everybody out there, go ahead and send it my way on Facebook, or I do have for the Fright Bite, we have Fright Bite Live at Gmail. You can send stuff too. But that'll do it, guys, for tonight. Thanks as always, and as I like to say, be cool, be kind to each other.